You are tired. Not just physically tired, but tired in a way that goes deeper than that. You have tried the plans, you have downloaded the apps, you have watched the videos, bought the equipment, started on a Monday, and quit by Thursday. And every single time, you tell yourself the same thing: next time will be different. But it never is. And somewhere along the way, you stopped believing that it ever could be. I know exactly how that feels, because I lived there for a long time. There was a point in my life where I could not walk up a flight of stairs without feeling it, where I would avoid mirrors in public bathrooms because I did not want to see what I had become, where I would scroll through photos of people with incredible bodies and feel this sick mixture of inspiration and hopelessness at the same time. Like some part of me wanted it desperately, but another part of me had already decided that it was not for me. That maybe I was just one of the people who was not built for that kind of transformation. That maybe fitness was for other people. Simpler people. People who had more time, more willpower, more of something I clearly was missing. And the worst part was not the physical stuff. The worst part was what it did to everything else. The way I would hold back in social situations because I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. The way I would dress to hide myself rather than to express myself. The way I would feel this low hum of shame running underneath everything I did, every single day. It was not loud. It was just always there. If any of this is reaching you right now, I need you to stay with me. Because what I figured out changed everything. And it is so embarrassingly simple that part of me was actually angry when I realized it. Before I go any further, I do want to mention that we have related programs linked down in the video description below. I am not going to push you toward them right now. Honestly, most people who need real change are not ready to look at them yet anyway. But they are there. And by the time we get to the end of this, you will know whether they are for you or not. Now back to the story. I had been doing what most people do. I was following these elaborate programs that required me to track 17 different things, eat at specific times, do exercises I had never heard of, and somehow maintain all of that on top of a real life with real responsibilities and real exhaustion. And every time I failed, which was often, I assumed the problem was me, my discipline, my consistency, my character. But that was not the problem at all. The problem was complexity. The human brain is not wired to maintain complicated behavior changes over long periods of time under stress. When life gets hard, and life always gets hard, the brain defaults back to familiar patterns. It is not weakness, it is just biology. And once I understood that, everything shifted. I stopped trying to be perfect and started trying to be consistent. And those two things are completely different. Here is what that actually looked like in practice. Instead of following a rigid meal plan that told me what to eat for every single meal, I made one rule. Eat something real before I eat something processed. That was it. One rule. And over time, without any spreadsheet or tracking app, my eating naturally cleaned up because I was making one small decision better. Repeatedly, instead of committing to 6 days a week in a gym with a structured split, I committed to moving my body in a way that did not make me miserable, for a duration I could actually maintain. Some days that was 20 minutes. Some days it was more. But it was consistent, and consistency over time is worth infinitely more than intensity followed by burnout. Within 3 weeks, something started to shift. Not dramatically, not in a way that anyone else would notice yet, but I started waking up differently. There was this quiet sense of momentum that I had never felt before with any other approach. Like something was actually building instead of constantly starting over. By the end of the first month, I had lost real weight, not water weight, not the kind that comes back the moment you look at a piece of bread. Actual body composition change. My clothes started fitting differently, I started standing differently. I started feeling this thing I had completely forgotten about, which was energy, real energy, the kind where you actually want to do things instead of just surviving until bedtime. People started noticing before I even noticed myself. The comments started coming in. What are you doing? You look different. There is something different about you. And I did not have some complicated answer to give them, because the answer was genuinely simple. Now here is where the authority behind this matters. The principles I discovered were not just personal experience, they are rooted in what behavioral science has been showing for decades. The research is consistent. Small, sustainable habits compound over time in ways that massive, unsustainable efforts never can. The people who maintain physical transformation long-term are almost never the ones who did the most extreme thing. They are the ones who did the most boring, repeatable thing for the longest time. The ones who succeed are not the ones who found the perfect plan. They are the ones who stopped waiting for the perfect plan and started doing something simple right now. And there is a version of this that has worked for thousands of people. People who had tried everything. People who had failed repeatedly and decided they were simply not meant to be fit. People who had resigned themselves to a body and a life that was shrinking every year. And then they made a decision to stop overcomplicating it, and everything changed. The The cost of inaction is something people never actually sit down and calculate, but let me paint it clearly. Every year that passes where you are not taking care of your body is a year where your energy continues to drain. Your confidence continues to erode. The things you want to do become slightly less possible. The gap between the life you are living and the life you want to live gets a little wider. And that gap has a cost. It has a cost in your relationships, your productivity, your mental health, your sense of self. It is not abstract. It is compounding against you every single day. But here is the flip side, and this is the part that actually got me emotional when I started to feel it in my own life. When you start moving in the right direction, even slowly, even imperfectly, that compounds too. The energy comes back and you start doing more. You start sleeping better and your mind gets sharper. You start feeling proud of yourself, and that pride bleeds into every other area of your life. Your standards rise, your relationships improve, you show up differently for the people who matter to you. You start doing things you had quietly stopped believing were possible for you. That is not motivation talk. That is what actually happens when a human body starts being properly cared for. The returns are real, they are measurable, and they arrive faster than most people expect. 3 weeks. That is often all it takes before you start feeling something genuinely different. Not perfect, but different in a way that keeps you going. You have spent enough time trying things that were too complicated to maintain. You have given enough Mondays to plans that were never going to last. And the programs linked in the description below exist for exactly the type of person reading themselves in everything said here today. Simple, proven, designed for real life and real people who are finally done with the cycle of starting over. This is not for everyone, but if something in this video hit close to home, that feeling is worth listening to. The window to feel different, to live differently, is always smaller than it seems. Do not let another week become another month. The link is right there waiting. Go now.